Hi, everybody. I am constantly amazed. I'm constantly bewildered and confused of why people go to something and immediately think that their opinion and only their opinion means that everything should be changed. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Carnival Cruise Line, and I'm talking about the comedy clubs. And I'm basically talking about the comedy clubs on every cruise ship out there. And how some people are those type of people who get offended really easy, but for some reason, still go to a comedy club. So recently, a passenger on a Carnival Cruise Line was complaining to John Heald about a comedian on a cruise ship. In fact, they complained about two comedians on the cruise ships, both performers that night. And what they said was, basically, the first comedian came out and opened with an F-bomb. And within 5 minutes, had said the F-bomb 3 other times. And they made offensive sexual innuendo, they made political jokes, just filthy. And they were racist as well. And I don't understand how everybody else there sat there and listened to the filth. Well, maybe they sat there because they had a sense of humor. I'm thinking that might have been the reason. They said Carnival is a family cruise line. Yes, they are. They're the fun ships, but they also have adult-only areas, and they also have adult kind of only entertainment on board, right? They also have an 18+ comedy show that's made to be more adult-oriented jokes. The comedians are not going to go up there and tell knock-knock jokes. They're not Jerry Seinfeld from 20 years ago, right? You're doing observation jokes. You know, you ever wonder about the food on airplanes? They're not going to do those kind of jokes anymore. And a lot of it is crowd work when you're a comedian on a cruise ship. You have your routine, but you can't do that routine for the entire length of the cruise line, you know, sailing. Sometimes you're on a sailing for 14 days, you gotta have material, and a lot of the mix in crowd work, well, they'll pick somebody and they'll try and make jokes about what that person said. I've seen comedians meet the CEOs of cruise lines who were there for like a special launch or something like that and found the person a little bit intoxicated, shall we say, and completely went after that guy the whole night during that performance, the whole night, because of the situation. Now, did that person get fired? Did that person become offended? No, he was now the brunt of the joke and kind of deserved it because of what happened on the ship. And I'm one of those people who think, if you don't think something is funny, fine. Maybe somebody else did. But humor is subjective. It's like when you eat food. Not everyone likes every single thing that's food, right? Some people love garlic on everything. Other people can't stand garlic on things. Everybody has their own individual tastes. And just because you don't like something doesn't mean, and this is what annoyed me. This is what annoyed me. The passenger said that person should be fired. Maybe you should be banned from comedy clubs. Maybe that's an easier solution. Because I've gone to many, many comedy clubs. I've done it all my life. I used to take my first date. Whenever I was going on a first date, I used to take them to a comedy club because it was an easy thing to do. It was not pressure. You didn't have to carry on a big conversation. You could just enjoy the humor and talk in between the shows, have a couple drinks, get to know each other. Very easy first date, right? As opposed to going to a nightclub and a dance club and, you're more pressure on that. Comedy club kind of gives you a little, and I've been picked on in comedy clubs. I've been made fun of, and I never once said, oh, man, that offended me so much. And I've been picked on by every kind of comedian you can think of. I've been picked on from every race, every nationality, every accent, about my job, whether about my hair sometimes, about just anything. I've been picked on in the comedy clubs and never walked out saying, that guy should be fired. Because if you go to a comedy club, you're open season. It's open season on you. That's why some people sit way in the back and some people sit in the front. Because the people who sit in the front usually are the people who don't give a darn and are okay with being laughed at or being made fun of or whatever. People sitting way in the back know, hey, I don't want to be picked on, but I want to hear the humor. It's the thing to do. It's fine. And this whole thing about, well, that joke offended me. And imagine an adult comedian saying the F word at an 18-plus comedy club. Man, imagine, because no one ever uses that word in real life. It's only a word that people use in movies. You don't hear people say that in everyday life. So why would the F-bomb be used in a comedy club? Really? 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 This person deserved to be fired because you didn't like their humor. And surprisingly enough, everybody else stayed. And everybody else listened to the comedy. And probably everybody else laughed. So maybe the problem wasn't the 18-plus comedy club stuff or the two comedians that were doing their job as best they can, trying to make a living on a cruise ship, saying comedy in front of a live audience, trying to make people laugh for a living. Maybe, just maybe, the problem was that large stick inserted in a certain area of your body.